This process is evolution, how monkeys came to be.
Wait guys, we just evolved.
No, we didn't. We just fast forwarded.
Wait, what's evolution? Let's talk about it.
So the actual definition of evolution is a process that results in changes in the genetic material of a population over time. But to simplify that, it's basically the change in a population over time. The four forces of evolution we're going to be talking about today is genetic drift, gene flow, mutations, and natural selection. Genetic drift is when the frequency of a population is changed due to a random chance event. For example,
here we have an example of genetic drift. There are 5 different colors, and for example, we are using them as bugs in a population. There are 5 different colors.
And genetic drift is a random event that happens. In this case, it's the bugs being crushed. So if if 4 bugs were crushed, after the bugs being crushed, that leaves orange and green to be extinct, and then red having a higher frequency than purple and yellow, the other remaining traits.
Gene flow is basically when genes are being transferred to other genes in the population. An example can be seen when a bee is going around transferring the pollen to every other flower, meaning the genes are all being transferred all in one.
The bottleneck effect is an extreme example of genetic drift, and it wipes out a population with things such as natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis, and it just leaves a random assortment of different survivors.
the bottleneck effect is when a natural disaster affects a population, and in this population we have 5 traits. For this example, let's say the natural disaster is an earthquake. And it wipes out almost half of the population, leaving us still with 5 traits. To the first earthquake, there was an aftershock that hit even harder than the first, wiping out almost the full population, leaving us with 3 traits. Since yellow and red were wiped from the population, it means their traits went extinct, leaving purple, orange, and green to be the only living traits. When mutations happen, it changes the DNA sequence, and mutations can either be harmful, beneficial, or neutral.
Beneficial mutations are advantages that increase the fitness of a living organism,
while harmful mutations decrease fitness.
And neutral mutations don't affect anything because a mutation is too small to change anything.
Fitness is an organism's ability to pass on its genetic material to an offspring.
Some evidence for evolution can be found in fossil records because it can help us determine to see the similarities and the differences between the bone structure from animals from the past and animals now, to see if they have any common ancestry.
Another evidence for evolution is biogeography. An example of biogeography is how camels are only located in the desert because their body is designed for heat.
More evidence for evolution can be found in embryology. Embryology is the study of the early stages of an organism and their development.
Evolution can't happen in one person because it needs a whole population to pass down traits from generation to generation.
Phenotypes are the only ones that can be exposed to environmental pressures because they're physical traits which are on the outside, whereas genotypes can't be because they're inside of us and they're in our genetic material.
Adaptation is when a trait adapts to its environment so that organism can survive in that environment.
There are different types of selection. Some of them are named disruptive selection, stabilizing selection, and directional selection.
Directional selection is a mode of natural selection, and this is when a single phenotype is favored, so then it makes the allele frequency shift all in one direction.
Stabilizing selection is when extreme traits are eliminated for the population, while medium to common traits are favored in the population.
Disruptive selection does the reverse. It favors extreme traits over common traits.
Natural selection is a big part of evolution because it decides which animals survive and which don't, based on the traits that they have that are more suitable for the environment.
So for example, we have Belle and Jenna here as a population together, but half of the population is Belle, which is a short trait, while the other half of the population is Jenna, which is a tall trait. In this case, Belle's trait would be helpful since she would be able to hide away from predators easily, while Jenna's trait wouldn't be as helpful since she will easily be caught by predators, which will eventually cause the tall trait to be eliminated from the population, leaving the short traits to thrive.
Another example of natural selection could be from prehistoric giraffes to modern giraffes. Since the prehistoric giraffes' trait wouldn't be beneficial to their survival, they will eventually die off, and so will that trait.
And since long-necked giraffes have a trait which is more helpful for them to reach their food sources, they're able to get the nutrients that they need for their body, leaving them to survive. And since their trait is more beneficial, they're able to pass down their trait to the other giraffes. And then if you're a short-necked giraffe, well then...
Well, that's life. If you got the height to reach it, you'll eat, and those genes are passed on to the child. If you're too short to reach it, your short genes will just simply die when you die. This goes on for quite a few times, a million years and quite a few tries. After this time you will get a surprise, cause a brand new type of species arise.